special edition Teammates Mentoring Hour. You know the deal. 402-464-5685, the Starter Hammond text line. You can text in the show with your comments, thoughts, and opinions. You could call in the Honda Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. And the live video stream is up. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Those chat rooms are open as well. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can. That's the way to do that. This hour, I get hyped about this segment because it's the community being active and the positive engagement and the positive work that's being done by anonymous angels. We kind of want to make them a little more known and to say thank you publicly for the work that's being done, the lives that are being affected. These mentors not only have chosen to change the lives and trajectory of young people in this community, but they are going to reach people that they never meet in the work that they do. And it's important for all of us to kind of stand up, accept the challenge, and honor the code for what is Teammates Mentoring so that we can make this a better life and a better experience for some of the young people in there. Let's bring in tonight's mentors and our guest tonight. First, Russ Ewing, if you would introduce yourself and let the folks know who you are, what you do, and why you do this.
My name is Russ Ewing, and I'm the Director of Student Services for Lincoln Public Schools. I've been the director for the last 11 years. Prior to that, I was at Lincoln High for 20 years as a teacher, coach, and associate principal.
That's quite a mouthful for the work that's being done. Plus, you find time to do this.
I started actually being involved with Teammates as one of my duties as an administrator at Lincoln High was being the Teammates facilitator. Lincoln High has always had a long history of having a number of teammate mentors there and a great program. So it was great to be initially involved in that way as a facilitator to help mentors get matched up with their mentees, have a person that they could go to when there were questions or anything like that. And then when I left Lincoln High, one of the things that I missed the most was being around kids. And so being able to be a teammate mentor was something that I could do. And so I very quickly got matched up with a mentee in this role 11 years ago. And now I am on my fourth mentee.
See, those numbers matter because it's the exponential value. You have to see past what's happening. Imagine the families that you're affecting and then the space that's in there. So let's bring in our next mentor, Julie Latimer. Julie, please tell the folks who you are and what you do.
My name is Julie Latimer, and I am a life coach. I have a business called Being Brave Together. And so I work with people on working through things that to increase the positivity in their lives. So, and I have been I've been a mentor for 5 years.
Why is the next question? Why would you do the things that you do? This is actually a labor of love. Why?
Absolutely. I grew up, both of my parents were educators. And so our dinner table conversations always centered around their students and how they could help their students. And so I grew up with that as a commitment. And so it became clear to me at the time that I became a mentor, I was a marketing director with a large corporation, and working with children was something that was missing in my life. And so this allowed me to do it in a way that I could juggle my corporate schedule, but also do something that was really important to me.
Nola, it's from the inside, and you get to see twice the story and twice the work. Nola Derby. Bennett, please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah. Hi. My name is Nola Derby Bennett. I, in my day job, get the privilege of serving as the director of community learning centers for Lincoln Public Schools. So I get to work with all of our amazing community partners that help keep our students in programming, in academic and enrichment programming before and after school, and supporting families and the neighborhoods.
Let me ask why. The why is always important because it tells me how deep this thing runs for you.
Yeah, that's such a great question and such an important perspective. So I actually do my professional work and then also have chosen to serve as a mentor sort of as part of my upbringing, my experience growing up. I grew up in a small town here in Lincoln, or here in Nebraska. And my dad was an alcoholic, and he was a functioning alcoholic. He had a job, and our family was doing okay, but there were a lot of people in our community who knew what it looked like inside of the walls of our house and some of the struggles that my family had. And so there were lots of adults who stepped up and served and supported our family in different ways. I have 6 brothers and sisters. All 7 of us have college degrees. There's 4 of us that have advanced degrees. One of my sisters has a PhD, and all of us were able to get to the point of being successful in our lives because we had mentors who believed in us and who supported us through our journeys.
Russ, I'll ask, do you find yourself looking at sharing your vision of your mentees? Like once you get to know them and you spend time with them, is it sharing your vision of them, or is it just helping facilitate their vision of themselves?
One of the things that I've really enjoyed is each one of my mentees has been different. And so I really think it is getting to know them, getting to know their strengths, what their interests are. And my job is not really to impose what I think or who I think they should be, but it's really trying to help them be the best version of themselves and capitalize on their strengths. And I think that's also the best way to connect kids.
Well, being in schools, being in those brick and mortar buildings, you get to see a high volume of personality types. So does that help you identify what your mentee, the space that they're in, and the things you're going to need for you to help them?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it takes a while to build that relationship, but I think that the TeamMates does a great job of giving you guidance on how to kind of help develop that and activities that you can do. And so I think it's around trying to know who they are, what their interests are, and capitalizing on that. An example of that is my first mentee. I've got a huge interest in sports and athletics and have all my life. He did not really care about athletics, which was okay.
Right.
He had a big interest in cars, which I don't know anything about cars. But what we started doing is we started building model cars together. And so that was just he taught me a lot about the different parts of the car because he just really knew about it and what purposes they served and so on. So I was able to learn a lot, but it was also a great conversation piece for us and a way for us to really get to know each other.
I'll ask this of you because you told me before you were a basketball coach. Through that, TeamMates is the common message. But on these one-to-one meetings or meetups, how difficult is it to get them to open up?
Again, it depends upon the student.
Okay.
Some it takes a little bit longer, but much of it is really kind of time and asking questions and being a listener and giving them the kind of the comfort and the space to kind of be comfortable with you. And then you can kind of see that starting to happen to where they really are to get more and more comfortable with sharing about the things that they like to do, what it is that they want to do in the future, what are things that they like and dislike. So again, it's dependent upon the student, but as you move forward with them, you really start to develop that relationship and start to see those lights come on.
Julie, you mentioned your labor of love, your life project, and then there's TeamMates. What was the bridge for you that made you cross and connect what you normally do in your day-to-day to TeamMates?
I so believe in the value of one-to-one relationships. I think that students are often just feel as though they're a small part of a much bigger whole, and they feel as though they're kind of lost in that process. And it became apparent to me that if I could have enjoy some kind of a connection one-on-one with a student, that would allow them to really be heard, of course, at the rate that they wanted to be heard. One thing that I think is really important, you asked the question about what does it take for a student to open up. And I really approach it. I've had the same teammate. We started when they were a third grader. They're now a seventh grader. We've gone through the COVID process together. And I did not go into it with the idea that it was my job to get them to open up. It was my job to just hold space for them and be very gentle and careful in making conversations, finding those commonalities that Russ talked about, or the lack of commonalities. And that's totally okay. One of the things that my mentee and I talk about a lot is how much we learn from each other. And so never placing ourselves in a position of being the leader or the knower of things, but to be very open to what our teammates want to share with us. My teammate happens to be incredibly strategic, even as a third grader. She manifested that with game playing and with learning how to. TeamMates is awesome in providing activities for you to do. And so one of the great things that we had was this thing where you learned how to create electronic circuits and light up light bulbs and make things whir and fizz. And it was such a joy to watch her figure those things out. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a big picture, eagle vision kind of person. I look at a bunch of instructions and I'm bored to tears. But this kid could look at those instructions and I would just literally hold the paper in front of her and she would just work her way through it and start connecting things and putting things together. And before you knew it, we had light bulbs going on and we had things flashing. And these were things that she had not experienced in other areas of her life. And it really was very empowering, especially for a female. And suddenly I heard her telling her teacher, well, Julie says I'm really strategic. Julie says I really have a great way working with my hands, with my figuring out things, how to follow learn directions. And I wasn't saying those things to make her feel better. I was really honoring the stuff that she was doing. And so it's really cool now to see as a seventh grader that she has taken those things that we're developing and taking them to a whole new level in middle school.
How amazing is it to watch your mentees grow? I mean, you said from third grade to seventh grade.
It's
and
crazy.
We understand what a huge leap that is.
It's crazy
in the lives of these young people. And then you get the passenger seat to watching these journeys. Let's go through that. Okay, so now what is that thing of watching the journey? Well, what are you noticing as your mentee grows up?
Well, I started with my first mentee when she was a fourth grader. She moved away to a different community as a ninth grader, and came back to Lincoln as an 11th grader during the middle of the pandemic, called the TeamMates office and asked for me to come back as her mentor. By that time I had gotten another mentee, but of course I said, absolutely, I'll just do both.
Right.
And she has again moved away to a different community, but she's a senior. And it has been such an amazing privilege to get to witness that process with her. It's kind of been an up and down experience, moving away and changing schools and having to make new friends. But my gosh, I've gotten to see her, go from a 11-year-old little girl to a young woman who's got goals and aspirations and who has discovered herself and figured out who she is as a person, who she is as it is in relationship to her friend groups and in relationship to her family. And, I've gotten to sit right there with her while she's kind of talking through that process. She's, that relationship has just been incredible and such a safe space for her to be able to share, who she's becoming as a young person. Now, the mentee that I have now, I started with her when she was a third grader, and now she's a sixth grader. So I've gotten to see her through elementary and now discovering who she is in middle school and kind of going through that process as well. So, I mean, what a gift to be able to just, sit alongside and honor those personalities and honor those opportunities for them to discover who they are as people.
Let me ask you all where the line is to you recognizing and accepting that you can help people in this space, because there are listeners that would go, I kind of want to help, but maybe I'm not the person. Maybe I don't have the skill set. Maybe I don't have the time. How did you cross that bridge that, you know what, yeah, I'm supposed to be here for these young people, whatever it takes. And then you find out it doesn't take as much as you think it is. How did you cross the bridge into, okay, I need to do this?
For me, it was kind of a natural evolution, just because I had been in the schools for a long time, and then I was at the district office. So I wanted to be able to continue to work with students. What I had to get used to, though, is I had to take my school hat off, because my mentees did not want another school
You don't need
person.
another principal.
Right, right. and so I had to, the message came to me fairly quickly about that, because, I wanted to talk to them about their grades, and I wanted, and that's not what my role was. That's not what I was supposed to do.
What was your
role? My role is to be somebody for them to talk to. It's somebody for them to feel comfortable with and be able to share the things that they want to share. And it's really just to kind of listen and support and to encourage them. And so, you do a lot of that as an educator, but you also want to go to fixing things. And I had to get away from fixing things.
Resist.
Yes.
Like mentoring isn't fixing. I had to learn that early on. That,
yeah.
Look, it's not my job in the space that I am with the young people to fix what they deem as wrong. I just have to be there. Like, I have to be a sounding board. I have to be kind of the rebounder, the fetch partner, whatever thing they throw out in the space, I've got to catch and deal with. And
once I figured that out and got comfortable with it, it was great. Because you're just more in a, kind of a collegial relationship, and just kind of it's more of a partnership, I guess, than it is anything else.
Julie, you strike me as a person that this is kind of how you live anyway. And now you just get to pour this into a consistent bucket of good. But when did you know that you had a gift for just being present and helping people?
I think I learned that I didn't have that as a gift. Actually, it wasn't something I was born with. I was born as somebody, I was raised to constantly be thinking about how I was going to respond to somebody before they finished talking. I did not hold space for people. It was 12-step, honestly, that taught me how to, we don't talk about it in the social area, but you learn in 12-step meetings to sit and shut up and listen, and that it's about everybody's story. It's not just about your own. And so I developed that over the course of many, many years. And I really found that to be super helpful. I find it to be super helpful as a teammate, because it's really tempting to want to go in and think that I'm going to honor this student, this kid with my wisdom and my expertise and my experience. And that is absolutely, and that's a big load to carry. Who wants to carry that load? I just want to be able to show up and wear my identification badge so that people know I'm safe, and walk in. And you know what's really cool is that half the time we might pull out a game like, now we're really into Scrabble. And it's cool because it's giving my teammate the skills of reading, of making up words, and having to keep score. So she's doing math. But more importantly, and in fact, she asked for Scrabble for Christmas. But more importantly, you don't have to walk in with any kind of an agenda, which is kind of nice, because in almost every area of our life, as parents or as employees or employers, we think we have to have an agenda. And it's cool, so freeing to walk in. When we were at her grade school, the biggest thing we did was spend a lot of time out in the courtyard and examine how the seasons were changing, collecting nature samples, looking at things under the microscopes, all that kind of stuff. So you just kind of show up and you kind of just have this feeling of, okay, how are they leading me? What do they want to do today? Sometimes we don't even get to Scrabble because she's so busy talking, which is cool as a shy 7th grader. And then I'll shut up. But like today was super cool because the first thing that she did was pull out her phone and start showing me all these photographs of beautiful snakes, super cool snakes. And I used to work at the zoo, so I love snakes. And so I said, have you ever do you know anything about Zoo Crew at the zoo? And she was like, no, what's that? And I said, well, you get to go behind the scenes and you get to work with the zookeepers and you get to, and her eyes lit up. And so we called the zoo. We found out when the registration process takes place. And then she's going to talk to her mom about the possibility of making that happen. And, you know, we were only there an hour today and already she's like super psyched about this as a possibility.
Like those are like those magic moments, and most mentors will say they can go to that magic moment where, as Russ said, you find out what his love of cars was about. You found out that, hey, there's a thing that moves this young lady in an exceptional way. Nola, I'll ask you, is there a magic moment that jumps to mind where you find out a thing about a mentee that not only makes you smile, but you guys get to share it going forward?
You know, I would say with my first mentee, getting her, some of the growth moments for her in middle school with sorting out female friendships. And I would say the magic moments are the times when she sinks down in the chair when I come, you know, where she's just like, I'm so glad you're here. I have these challenges that I'm struggling with, and I don't have anybody else to talk to about them. These are the situations that are going on with these friend groups. Help me navigate this. And so just talking through, you know, what does that look like? Knowing that she trusts me infinitely to give her, you know, to ask questions and to kind of help her discover a way to get through challenging middle school female friendships. Sometimes those are magic moments in that relationship for me, is just having that experience with her and knowing that there was safe space for her to ask for help.
That simple thing, that once they learn that, yeah, you're here for me. Those are magical moments. We're going to take a break. Again, on the Teammates Mentoring Hour, we'll do this. Russ Ewing is here. Nola Derby Bennett is here. Julie Latimer is here. Big Sky, take us to break. When we come back, I'll ask you about your prep for this so that we can tell the people who are listening, if they're considering and pondering jumping into this pool, what's the process? What do they need to go through? What's it like to go through the whole point of being nominated, evaluated, and then being put in the space where mentoring happens? So I'll ask you those questions when we come back to 93.7 The Ticket.
Don't go anywhere. More of the Teammates Mentoring Hour is minutes away on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljob.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
What are you doing, Sip?
I thought the chickens could use some more light in their lives.
So you're building what exactly?
It's a motion-censored switchboard. Duh.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Of course. Ow! God!
Ow! Seems like a job for a professional.
Just one more wire. Yep, there you go, right there.
Don't be like Chip. Call Joe at Ambition Electric for any of your electric needs at 402-217-3415.
Have you been told your furnace has a cracked heat exchanger? Before you spend money needlessly, call Bryant for a free second opinion. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is the TeamMates Mentoring Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the TeamMates Mentoring Hour. We have three mentors here who have been a part of TeamMates and are doing a really good job of telling the story and clearing the path for folks who want to be a part of this labor of love. Russ Ewing, Nola, Bennett, and Julie Latimer. And I asked you guys before the break to kind of ponder if you would share the process, because people listening who again, they have the right hearts. We need to get their feet to move. And that's sometimes the most difficult thing to do. A lot of that is based on fear of the process. So what is the process to become a mentor?
Yeah, well, I can kind of share. Really, it's getting yourself to the TeamMates website, lincolnteammates.org. Right at the very top of the website, there's a button that says Get Involved with TeamMates, and you click on it, and there's an application process. You have to provide a couple of references, and then, hit submit, and they do the reference checks. They do the background checks on everybody who applies. And there's actually a tool that they use to help match mentors with the prospective mentees. So a little bit of like a personality match, so that they're making sure that they're matching young people with the adults who have common interests or common things in common. And then when I met with both of my mentees, the facilitator invites you out to the school. Once you've been identified as a match for a student, you actually get the opportunity to meet with that student, kind of learn a little bit about them, and then you agree together to go forward in that relationship process. So the facilitators do a great job then of checking in with both the mentee and the mentor. They're there as a resource. I actually emailed the facilitator at my mentee's middle school this year, and I said, middle school seems to be a little bit of a adjustment for her. is she still in for having this relationship? Because I didn't want it to be too much for her with the transition into middle school. So there are lots of opportunities for check-in, for support. But that's kind of the process is, just signing up and saying I'm in, and the TeamMates office is wonderful and will help to answer questions and provide all of the support that they have at their fingertips.
Julie, was your upload activity, was it user friendly for you? Was it comfortable for you?
It was super user friendly. The process that Nola just described was very easy, and it took very, very little of my time. And then there is a short training once you become a teammate. There is a short training, which is important, but it didn't take long at all, and I learned a lot. And I can't say enough about, this sounds kind of goofy, but I'll never forget how sacred it felt when my mentee and I met with the teammate facilitator at her school, facilitator for the first time. The facilitator did this amazing job of helping us to understand what truly a sacred relationship this was. And I just remember both of us just kind of feeling like, wow, this is the shiz. This is a big deal. And the other cool thing that came out of it was that I had not, through my jobs, had the opportunity to do the Gallup Strength Finder process. And that is one of the things that you can do through TeamMates. And so I learned a lot about my own strengths through Gallup. And then we recently did it with my mentee. And so she learned about her strengths as well. And so there's a lot of extra stuff that comes with it too. It was not arduous at all. I perceived it to be really easy.
Russ, when you tell people that you're doing this, what are the questions that people ask you?
Some of the questions are around time, and what that kind of looks like. If there's some flexibility on time, what happens if I have to miss sometimes? And I think all of us as teammates, that happens. Things come up. It's really simply letting the school know that you're not going to be able to be there. They communicate that to your mentee. And then I think it's part of, there's kind of sometimes this apprehension about being able to develop a relationship with a young person. And the other thing that I would add to what has been shared is I think TeamMates also does a great job of providing activities and different games or different things that you can do with your mentee, or you can kind of choose what you want to do. Julie had mentioned before about different things that you, based on student interest, maybe it's based on what's going on. And so I think that is something that can really alleviate people's apprehension maybe as well, is that there's so many resources out there. And it really is a matter of just kind of getting together and getting to know each other and having conversations.
How much time do you actually spend? And is it an every week sort of situation for you?
My goal is to get there every week. I don't get there every week, but I generally do.
Russ.
A lot of
stuff going on.
Everybody's busy,
right.
but I do. I would venture to say that I get there probably 75% of the weeks in the school year, and for me, the time spent is part based on the school schedule, but it's also sometimes based on the student and kind of the age that they're in. And because sometimes, younger kids maybe don't have that attention span. And so you maybe just spend a little bit less time, but then as they get older, you're able to increase that. And I will say this, it goes very fast. And every time I've got a little bit bigger skip in my step than what I generally do, just because I enjoy it and it's a fun thing to do. It's very refreshing.
Julie, how do you approach that when it comes to time and time missed and the connection? Because we understand once you connect that whenever more space is created, you've got to make that time and space up.
Yeah. I pretty much make a commitment to go every week. That's just a personal choice. However, for example, I will be traveling for the next 2 weeks. And so my teammate and I had to talk about that. And we looked at a map of the different places that I would be going. I had planned on taking an atlas today so we could actually figure out this road that I'm trying to figure out, but we didn't have time. But and then this is something I like to do. I send her postcards when I'm traveling, and I send them to the teammate facilitator, and then she passes them on. It's certainly not a requirement to do something like that, but you start kind of having fun with it. It's like, so when I was gone for 5 weeks a couple of years ago, my teammate got 5 different postcards from different locations, and she has kept every one of those. So I think that you can work within your own schedule and do whatever it is you need to. I think it is important to show commitment and show consistency.
That's fantastic, because I would fall on the side of the mentor that would want to do those things constantly. What are the boundaries that teammates set in those sort of communications? What do you do? How's that work?
Well, I think Julie had pointed out a really good a good workaround. So sending the communication through the facilitator. Every school building has one, and so there's that professional in the building that kind of helps to pass on that communication. So that's an amazing thought, to just work around that. It really is all school based. And so there isn't a relationship outside of the school. There isn't communication outside of the school. You don't meet with your mentee outside of the school. That's keeping the relationship really in that school building, and it makes it very safe.
How do you deal with that? Because in a lot of cases, the mentors are having their meetings at the school closest to them or local to them. What happens if there's a public engagement? What happens if you go to a ball game or you go at the grocery store and you see your mentee? What's the protocol?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you run into them out in public, of course, it's okay to greet and say hello, but you don't schedule things with your mentee outside of school. So, it happens that you may run into them around town. Lincoln's not that big. But it's not something that you would schedule with your mentee.
Is there any space or place for mentor-parent conversations about their young people?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have met the parents of one of my teammates. It was actually at I went to one of her school events. So that's an okay thing to do if that's something that you feel compelled to do. She had a concert at school, a strings concert, and had asked me if that was something that I would want to come to. And being that it was at the school, I attended. I didn't sit with her family, but I did meet them after the show, the concert was over. And I thought that was a really great opportunity just for them to, kind of put a face to a story, or, something that she maybe have talking with them about at home, and to help them know that I, was just a safe person who was, creating a relationship with their daughter. So that I thought that was, an okay thing to do. I wouldn't say that. I mean, the relationship is meant to be between the mentee and the mentor, and not to have the families really be involved in that. So I don't think that that's something that's generally encouraged.
Right.
But certainly, like I said, I've met her family in the past.
I would just imagine that your little mentee seeing you out in public, that the natural reaction would be that explosion of joy that, hey, there's my person. And that line being clear about how the process should work. Have you had any of those sort of in engagements or moments where you cross paths with your mentee? Russ?
Well, for my first 2 mentees were in high school when I started, and one of them was involved in activities. He was an athlete, so I would go watch him play periodically. And somewhere along the line, I figured out who his parents were. So I did kind of the same thing. I went and introduced myself and just kind of visited with them a little bit. And we actually knew some mutual people, so that was kind of fun. And then another one, I met his mother when he graduated. So at his graduation party, he invited me to his graduation party, and so I had a chance to meet.
That's a great day.
Yeah,
that is a great day. Julie, have you had any of these engagements?
My mentee has invited me to all of her concerts. You always have to meet at the school, And so I've been to, and this is just my own choice. So I've been to all of her concerts. And so her parents and I have talked a lot, not about the mentee, but just, and she was disappointed today to learn that I couldn't come to her sister's graduation because it's not at her middle school.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a really fun relationship because I've been to the science fairs and I've been to the concerts and all of that, always at her school and always within appropriate parameters.
Will you move from school to school with her?
I already have.
Okay.
We've already moved. In fact, it was really interesting because she kind of missed out on the last part of her 5th grade year because of COVID and did virtual. And then we were able to process over to her middle school when we were able to meet again. And that was really a fun reunion. We really had a good time because it was the longest we hadn't seen each other since our relationship began. I chose to even see her. We got permission to meet at the school during the summer. And so and the librarian was our supervisor.
Yeah.
We met in the library.
Yeah.
And so for us, had been a really long time for us to go without seeing each other.
That's again, if you aren't moved by the stories and the possibilities, then we're doing this wrong. This is the Teammates Minute or Hour with Word to Break. When we come back, the challenge will be issued. So think of somebody that you think should be doing this, that should be a teammate, that isn't. Let's send out the challenge to that, and then give a message to people who are considering becoming a mentor. So we'll do that when we close out the Teammates Mentoring Hour.
Don't go anywhere. More of the Teammates Mentoring Hour is minutes away on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Security First Bank. We're the bank, and we make your mortgage more manageable with flexible terms, trusted advice, and competitive rates. When you work with us, we'll know your name, but we'll also get to know your home dreams too. Security First Bank of Lincoln. Voted best small bank in Nebraska by Newsweek magazine. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. NMLS number 505011.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Working at Continental of Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they're hiring for production operators at $21.72 an hour and other select jobs starting at $23.42 an hour, with wages growing up to $27.55 an hour. Continental also has salary jobs available with great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations. Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you. Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season, enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping to see? Doesn't matter. I don't know what channel the game's on anyway. Are you ready to order? Okay, here's your check. Come back and see us again, okay?
What?
Hey, welcome back into Upside.
Slow down and enjoy the game at the Upside Bar and Lounge. Comfortable seating, plenty of screens, a great food and drink menu, and no one trying to shove you out the door. Come in, hang out, and take it all in. At The Upside Bar and Lounge, open daily just east of 27th and Pine Lake.
Have you been told your furnace has a cracked heat exchanger? Before you spend money needlessly, call Bryant for a free second opinion. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
You knew the risks when you decided to drive drunk. There could be a crash. People could get hurt or killed. But that didn't stop you, did it? You knew you could get arrested. You could incur huge legal expenses, and you could possibly even lose your job. You were well aware of the consequences of driving drunk. But one thing's for sure. You were wrong when you said it was no big deal. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
This is the TeamMates Mentoring Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final segment of TeamMates Mentoring Hour. You can, in fact, get more information at lincolnteammates.org. Go through, do your search, check it out, look around the website. If you have questions, feel free to reach out, and we'll get through it. This is a nomination segment where I'm asking the mentors to challenge somebody they know who they think should be doing this, somebody that has the heart, they have the feet for it, they have the legs for it, and they have the back for it. Nola, we'll start with you.
Well, okay, but I can tell you, being the spouse of the TeamMates coordinator in Lincoln, we have recruited all of our friends.
You tried. Well, let's take a second shot at somebody.
So, I mean, I'm just going to say anybody in this community of Lincoln who cares about the future of our community, anybody out there who's sort of just hearing this and going, oh, I could probably do that. Do it. You should. It's awesome. It's so fun. I mean, I think the three of us that are sitting here, we would say we are getting as much out of this as our mentees are. It's good. It's good for the soul.
Right? Like that's the part that we privately keep to ourselves, that we get great benefit out of this thing. It seems service, but service always returns. That's just the way it works. So yeah, that's the challenge to folks that listen, if you're slightly curious.
Yeah.
And
Lincoln, come on.
You're leaning in a little. Julie, is there anybody you want to reach out to?
Well, I'm not thinking, I'm thinking of a specific person. I'm not going to call them out, but I'm thinking about anybody who is busy with a corporate job, who feels as though they just can't take time away from their day to do this. And I was pleasantly surprised when I reached out to my corporation and said, this is something I'm really interested in. And they did not hesitate. They were like, yes, you absolutely need to do this. We so support you. And that included what little drive time there was. And so I would really encourage anyone who is part of a bigger company to not assume that their workload or their work schedule precludes them from doing this. And I think if you carve out a little bit of time, what you find is my daughter, for example, works for Huddle, and Huddle is a big supporter of TeamMates. And she and I were having coffee yesterday, and I was she's been around she hasn't met my mentee, but she has heard about her. And she said, I'm really busy at Huddle, but she said, I bet they would let me, take an hour away. And I said, I bet they would absolutely let you take an hour away. So don't let the fact that you have, you're part of a big corporation keep you from considering this.
Russ?
Well, I was kind of thinking along the same lines as Julie was, but I also had, I guess another way to go is there's a lot of people out there that enjoy being around kids and have a history of being around kids, whether it's through family, whether it's through maybe they were involved in youth activities in some way. But if you're somebody who gets a kick out of listening to and watching kids, this is for you, because you really get to know and be around. You get to hear what's going on from your mentee. You get to watch them grow. You get to laugh. And so I really think that if that's you, then you need to get on the LincolnTeammates.org website.
What is the final message? Take about 30, 45 seconds and give your message to somebody that may know of a young person that needs to be in this program as well. How can they help?
Well, I mean, I think, we know that there's an enormous waiting list. There's so many students who are waiting for someone to do exactly what we just described, to raise their hand. But we also know that there are so many more students who could benefit from a relationship with an adult. So, I mean, I think you're doing an amazing job of getting the message about teammates out there into the community. And my hope is that we need to keep up with getting the kids, getting the students, getting the matches in there, because there's so many adults who are here saying, I love Lincoln and I love what we have going on here, and I want to be a part of this. And so we're recruiting as many incoming mentees as we are mentors, and every year we have a patch of mentees who are graduating. And so getting the next third graders on the list is important as well.
Do we know how many folks are on the waiting list?
I asked Jim that today, and what the answer that I got was hundreds of students out there waiting.
That breaks my heart. That's there. Julie, final words for the listeners about teammates and what this thing is.
There's so many ways that we can impact kids, and in my opinion, this is one of the least time-consuming ways that you can have an impact on a child and be impacted by a kid. We're not talking hundreds of hours or even tens of hours every week volunteering. We're talking 1 hour a week and a little bit of drive time, and literally you don't have to put in a ton of preparation. You don't have to, and you get a little bit of training and some benefits along with it. So what an incredible way to impact a child. I said during the break, it's like donating blood. I'm in and out donating blood in less than 45 minutes, and what a huge impact that makes. This is the same thing, but even better. So just do it.
Yeah, it's time. Russ, final words.
I would agree with everything that's been said, and just encourage somebody to kind of take that next step. There is a student out there waiting for you, and you won't regret it. And it's something that you will gain more from than your teammate will.
We talk about community all the time, and usually it's based on the space that sports will unite people and get them moving in a positive direction for positive cause. This is not a greater cause. It is the greater cause. We can help this community by adding to the lives and quality of life of the young people in it. The future is this group that we're talking about, and there are great people in this community who have impact. We need your influence. So please go to LincolnTeammates.org, do some research, look around, ponder for yourself. Is there somebody waiting for you? The answer is yes. We will talk to you again next Wednesday night, same time, Teammates Mentoring Hour. To Julie, to Russ, to thank you for a great evening. Listeners, the challenge is now yours. Stand up, be heard.